Mr. Secretary General, Your Excellencies, esteemed members of Diplomatic Corps, Honorable President of the Board of Directors of the Research Foundation of the Research Institute Prometheus, distinguished guests, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizers of this important conference and for its timely and meaningful thematic focus. This title of this conference clearly reflects the rapid transformation of the international system, a transformation seemingly linked to the election of the new President of the United States and the series of disruptive policy announcements. These decisions appear to be reshaping bilateral relations between nations, generating not so much fear as a broad sense of uncertainty, but cannot be easily framed within conventional boundaries, as it seems to transcend the pure state of the competitively interdependent world. Geopolitical rivalries, combined with an increasingly volatile climate crisis, are together preparing the ground for a massive wave of migration. This new reality will add further complexity to the existing global challenges, displacing the discourse of planetary salvation in favor of Make America Great Again style unilateral monopolism, a trend that borders on dangerous protectionism. The foreign policy of the world's largest economies and the most powerful military actor dominates the headlines and prime media narratives due to the unprecedented and disruptive declarations made by President Trump. His policy approach is portrayed in the Western world as a preemptive response to a threat that is simultaneously inflated and presented as a kind of trade pandemic capable of plunging the global system into recession. What I consider especially critical is the pace at which these imposed intentions are accelerated in conjunction with misinformation or disinformation within a fabricated reality formed by false communities born of social media. The modern reader, whose attention is fragmented by a constant stream of thematic short videos, passively absorbs unverified and orchestrated information trapped within a cinematic framework that rarely extends beyond the confines of a smartphone screen. The consequences is an inoculation of the public with large doses of unrest, insecurity, and instability, amplified by the relentless overexposure of current wars and geopolitical tensions. Ultimately, the dynamic fosters economic nationalism. All of this occurs nearly 35 years after the first mentions of globalization as a term, and ushering in a new order rooted in anti-globalization sentiment at a new, independent, and potentially revolutionary economic and territorial imperialism. In my view, it was only to be expected that the era of globalization and interdependence will provoke over time a fear of homogenization, a fear closely linked to the economic globalization and the bipolar relationship that should have given us pause. It seems that the possibility of a shift in a global equilibrium, especially regarding the economic and military dominance of the United States over China, Europe, regional powers, Russia, and the BRICS member states, was never seriously considered. After all, a world based on interdependence, as we admittedly once believed in, contained within it a dual dynamic between the independent and the economical autonomous. This, in turn, creates a relationship not only of dependence, but also of imposition. This was first made evident during the financial crisis of 2008, which subsequently triggered a domino effect of economic downturns across the globe. To prevent any further negative developments, we need leaders who embody a multipolar temperament and possess advanced diplomatic skills. Members of diplomatic services must be trained and acquire knowledge sustainable for an adaptive Diplomacy, one that functions within a framework of interconnectivity rather than interdependence. In conclusion, even if it may sound unconventional, I must emphasize that the concept of think big cannot be universally and immediately applied. Unfortunately, it appears to have as a parallel consequence the rise of revisionist policies that diverge significantly from the intended goal of today's conference of building a shared community, a shared future for humanity. At the same time, normative structures must be introduced to guide the profound changes that lie ahead, changes that may overturn or further complicate existing realities. The most important among these is the emerging pole of artificial intelligence, which is shaping new circles of friendship and cooperation. AI is not just a technological development. It's becoming a central force in shaping new alliances, economically, militarily, and diplomatically among nations. In the acquisition of how the international system will operate within an accelerated trajectory, we must take into account not only the United States, China, and Europe, but also Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the increasingly influential United Arab Emirates. The UAE in particular, is becoming a key player in the AI domain, where artificial intelligence is not only driving economic development, but is also becoming a defining element in the formation of multilateral relations within the international system. And while that brings us certainty, it also opens the door for new forms of leadership, cooperation, and diplomacy. If we meet the moment with clarity, humility, and a commitment of shared values, we can shape a future that benefits us all. Thank you for your attention.